Hello and welcome to Trainz Plus. Thank you very much for joining me for the first episode of this brand new series, which may be a short series, 20 odd videos, possibly, might be more, depends on what I find to do in this particular sim. But thank you very much nonetheless for joining me in this particular video. Now, Trainz and I go back a very, very long time. After Microsoft Train Simulator, this was the first train simulator I actually ever drove in or used. And I do remember, this was Trainz The Ultimate Collection some 20 years ago. And I do remember taking out a massive train. It was well over a mile long. I think it was 2.5, 3 miles long in Australia. And the point of the train was you had to fill up iron ore. And so you had to put it under a hopper and it would just go ahead, or you had to put the hopper, under a... No, it is a hopper. Yes. So you put it under the hopper and it would fill up the iron ore from a mine. And you could only do, I think, 10 miles per hour or 5 miles per hour, something like that. This was 20 years ago. I just remember leaving it at that speed and then going off to eat dinner because it took about 25 minutes just to fill up the train at that speed. But yes, I have played Trainz titles a long time ago, and they were great. So when N3V Games approached me and said, "Do you want to try out our new Trainz Simulator World Tour for Xbox?" which you can actually see the advertisement for it in the menu, I had to say, well, obviously no, because I don't have an Xbox, so I cannot, unfortunately. However, what I can do is show you Trainz Plus. So, I've been given a few months on Trainz Plus to try it out, and this is going to be my first impressions. I'm going to try and find the best route to show off all the things in Trainz Plus, and we'll see what it is, my reservations, some questions that I have actually asked N3V Games, and ask them about certain things, because Trainz Plus is a subscription model as opposed to the other titles that they have. Trainz Simulator World Tour, Trainz Railroad Simulator 2022, etc. So I did have a few reservations, and so I have asked a few questions for that, and I have received some fairly good answers. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started. Unfortunately, it is not going to be Tornado that I'm taking out for a drive, although it does look quite resplendent in its apple green. And it does look very highly detailed as well, so that bodes well. In fact, the track and everything around here looks very highly detailed. So yes, make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started, and let's have a look and start talking about Trainz Plus. So I've gone around installing a whole bunch of stuff. Some of these are quite old. One of the things that Trainz does try to do is tries to make things, no matter how old they are, compatible with the latest versions. And so in Trainz Plus, I have Coal Country HDT, which you can see it says update to HD terrain standards, and that's one of the things that Trainz Plus currently has. It has this HD terrain, which is, instead of a 5 meter mesh, I believe it is a 0.125 meter mesh, something like that. So I will just go ahead and check. There is a lot of information about Trainz Plus. Yes, it's a 0.125 meter grid as opposed to a 5 meter grid, which is apparently 1,600 times more detail. So we're going to have a look at that. And it also has something that is more recent in Trainz, is the Living Railroad. So we're going to have a look at that as well, and the dispatch manager. That is going to be what we do. So let's go ahead and get that started. And whilst it's loading up, let me talk a little bit about the differences between Trainz Trainz 22. Oh, it's already loaded up. Never mind. Apparently I'm not controlling a train at this point in time. So what do I actually do? Let's figure it out. Oh, well, this train is apparently already moving with some very blurry textures. Is it going to improve the textures? I'm assuming so. Selected train is not under user control. Well, it's doing something, and textures are not apparently loading yet. How do I... Can I go look at other trains? Probably. Are there other trains? Nope. Zoom back in. First impressions. View driver. Aha! Here we go. So this is the dispatcher, it seems. So I get to... Well, first of all, I get to try and figure out why these textures are not loading, because it's really weird. Certain things have loaded fantastically, like even that there, and then the main texture for the locomotive is not running. In fact, these have loaded. So what's going on? Maybe it takes time? Let's go inside the train. Everything's loaded inside the train. Well, I guess whilst this train is going about its business, I can talk about Trainz Plus. That's probably a good option. I do not have to worry about anything because the computer's controlling it. So yes, Trainz 22 versus Trainz Plus. Let's have a look. So there are a couple of versions of TRS 22, Trainz Railroad Simulator 22. You have the standard version, the platinum version, and then Trainz Plus, you have the standard version and the gold version. Not sure why it's not platinum. So you have standard and gold, and then platinum is Trainz 22. Now Trainz 22 is your buy it once, own whatever it is. That is Trainz 22, whereas Trainz Plus is your subscription. So what do you get? Well, you get 6 built-in routes, the Legacy World Builder, otherwise known as Surveyor Mode, for those people who are familiar with trains. The Surveyor Mode is where you can build your routes and edit things. Multiplayer Surveyor comes in all of them as well, and then if you have Trainz 22 Platinum, you get 5 bonus routes and 21 bonus locomotives and over 400 locomotives, cars and wagons, and that comes in for the rest of them. That one's textures are also not loading. How strange. That is really, really odd. Well, there we go. If you get Trainz 22 Platinum, you also get, or Trainz Plus, you also get the new World Builder, which is Surveyor 2.0. After that, everything else is either Trainz Plus Standard or Trainz Plus Gold. So Trainz Plus Standard, in fact, the only thing Trainz Plus Gold gets that the others, the Trainz Plus Standard does not, is full DLC access. So that is apparently over $4,000 worth of DLC. So yes, you'll get brand new features first, new content first. The multiplayer Surveyor sounds kind of interesting. You get to build things together, and I think it's also multiplayer usage, actually driving the trains in multiplayer. And Trainz Living Railroad, which is what we're on, in HD terrain, which are new features. So that is what we get with Trainz Plus. Now, this is where I had a bit of a reservation. I thought, well, is this ever going to come to your buy it once version, your one-off purchases? And apparently it will in time. So everything will eventually filter. In fact, I will quote my question, and I'll quote my 3 questions that I had here and the answers that I was given. So I asked the question, will you still be looking at releasing a non-subscription model or updating Trainz Railroad Simulator 22 with some of the new features when they are tested and out in Trainz Plus? And the answer I received was yes, We have no plans to phase out standalone products. As with our major releases, we release and support them for 5 years, and then we usually roll out a new version that includes a lot of the major features Trainz Plus has had access to for all these years. The next question I asked was, will Trainz 22 continue to be supported for a while yet, or are you going to be planning on end dating that in favour of trying to get people to move over to Trainz Plus? So the response is Trainz 22 will continue to be supported alongside Trainz Plus and any new standalone products that get released, so i.e. Trainz Railroad Simulator 26 or Trainz Railroad Simulator 27, etc. The next question, or the last question, was how well do the DLCs work in Trainz Plus that were designed for older versions? Is compatibility fairly widespread or more limited? And this is because I think one of the things that I always noticed in Trainz was that DLCs and downloadable content that is free, community made, was also quite a big thing. So this was a big question to ask. And the answer that I received is we try our best to make sure that all content, even that which is 25 years old, works in all latest Trainz versions. So there we have it. Those are the questions that I asked, and I think that I was fairly satisfied with the answers, especially regarding the fact that there will be continued support for the standalone versions. I'm not somebody who really thinks all too highly of subscription models. I think standalone products with updates every, let's say, 3-4 years are better than subscription models, in the sense that for a consumer, I think they work out better. Whereas perhaps for a publisher, it might be better to, of course, have subscription models. Therefore you have a more capital coming in, or more revenue coming in, should I say, that you can then spend on updating and improving your products. And speaking of updating and improving, that still has not loaded. Is there a way for me to reload? Not that I can see. Go to a roaming camera. Forgot about this camera. This is something I remember doing in Trainz. These are very old controls, and whilst that train is going around, in fact, if we just twist around this way, perhaps pop along, I don't know, here, let's have a good look at this HD terrain, which I am expecting to make its way into the next standalone train simulator. So you get to see that instead of 5-meter meshes, you get this, which when combined with textures actually look pretty good. I do particularly like that. Is the water flowing? It is. The water also has some animation. Grass looks pretty good. Performance is not great. And I think textures for buildings needs to be improved, although I guess if you're looking at it from here, it doesn't look all too bad. There's also this new type of tree. So instead of, I think it's called trees with a Z. Trainz N3V like putting Zs on things instead of S's. I think it's just their thing. So it's trees with a Z, trains with a Z. I'm surprised it's not surveyor with a Z, Zavea. No, that would be stupid, wouldn't it? But yes, so they do have these new trees. I'm not sure if these are the ones. They do look better. Lighting looks better than what I remember. So I have played... which one was it? I think it was Trainz Railroad Simulator 2019. 2018 was the last one I played. But that doesn't look... Oh dear. Whoops. That doesn't look too bad. The train is coming, and I'm trying to get up on a track to get a good view of it. I can hear the train arriving. That will do. Actually, that doesn't look too... Wait, why are you going in the other direction? What? How did you... When did you do that? Okay, well, I guess I'm taking a picture from here. How do I raise the camera? Guess I cannot, so I'll have to... Or I do not know how to. I'm sure I can, but I have no clue how to do that. Let's go over here and wait for the train to appear. And whilst we're doing that, let's have a bit more of a read of what we get in, or what the plans are with Trainz Plus. So there is new lighting. Forward plus rendering, lighting the future of trains. So at the moment the light sources are, I think we just have the sunlight. I don't think anything else has been lit up. So forward plus rendering transforms the way light works in trains, allowing countless real-time light sources. That actually sounds quite good. It reminds me of Train Simulator Classic, which only has the one light source, and then compare it to Train Sim World, which has multiple light sources. It's loaded. It's all loaded. The textures have loaded. Great. This might be a different train. I'll be honest. This might be a different train. But the textures have loaded, and they look... Oh, okay. Sounds could do with a bit of improvement. Can I go chase this train? It's a bit difficult, so I have a look at the detailing on it. Wait, let's press 2. It's a different train. I'm looking at a different train. Let's go find that train then. How do I... Which one is it? Is it you? No, I'm looking for a name. Tyler. There you are. Let's go. There we go. So this one appears to have loaded properly, and the textures are fairly impressive. Now it would, I think, once these lights work, that will look even better. Horns could do with some work. The engine sounds are fairly good though. But yes, back to the lighting, and I have seen some of the early alpha screenshots, and it is really nice for night lighting, seeing the emissive light from the signals does look really good. Let's see what else there is. So yes, there's the new foliage, as I said, trees with the Z. It's actually on Trainz Railroad Simulator 2022 as well. Ooh, we have a little bit of texture glitching there. Interesting. So that goes from something that they call Speed Tree to this new trees version. HD terrain I've already spoken about, which you can actually see in action, which is nice. It does give it better shadowing as well, and color tinting, which I'm going to have to explore a little bit more through some after some time, I suppose. I'll have to actually take a look at it. At the moment, this dispatch simulator, or this living railroad, only has freight operations, but it will be working on getting passenger operations in, and you can just change. So for example, if I were to press F5, view driver, I can tell it what it needs to do. So at the moment it's like that. I can say player controlled. I could take charge of it myself. I could change whatever it's doing, make it, and give it a bunch of commands. And that's pretty cool, because it's more, I think that would be more so if you wanted to again, if you wanted to dispatch trains, try and emulate a real life dispatcher, or if you had perhaps a model railroad, so a model railway, and that would be, this is the whole coal loading thing all over again. If you had a model railway and you wanted to just dispatch and have trains going around on these model railways, I think that would also be quite good. That's oh no, car's got in the way. Oh, that car is horrible. That car really was horrible. That ruins that bit there. But otherwise, this looks okay, you know. It really does. Dynamic gameplay. So instead of having to give it custom rules, it's supposed to be automated. So that's how it's all supposed to work. But there is going to be improvements, or there are going to be improvements to this, and that's quite good. Let's see if I can find out a little bit more about. In fact, actually, that is something to talk about, is the routes. So if you have not played Trainz before, the way Trainz works is we have these tiles, and you build the route. So you build a tile, and then you build the route through the tiles, and it's always worked quite well. And it's still, to this day, this is still something that happens. Should we go check out what David's up to? There we go. Ooh, it's that train again. One of these trains does not seem to be loading textures, or that particular texture does not seem to wish to load. What's Jane up to? Let's go find out. This is actually quite. I'll be honest, just jumping between these is actually quite interesting. Apparently, just sitting there. Sure. Shadowing looks good. Much improved. Be nice if the cars moved in this, just went up and down this road. That would be nice. Audio systems apparently are also being improved, and I think there are some. Let's see if I can find it. There is a roadmap. There it is. Trainz roadmap. Probably a good idea to go through in my first impressions. So, things that are currently in development. Of course, we've got the Trainz World Tour for desktop. So I think that might be like a something in between the next Trainz update, or next Trainz standalone product, or that might be the next Trainz standalone product. Real light source support, the Living Railroad passenger support, driver assistance, a new driver UI. Oh, that actually looks quite good. I'm just looking at this new driver UI, and that looks better than what we currently have. A new main menu. The main menu is a little bit dated. DirectX 12, that's probably quite important, especially for lighting. Some trains, British Rail 8F, the LMS or British Rail 3F, Ginty, SP Cab, Standard Class, British Rail 9F, LMS Stania Class 8F, and then we've got a bunch of Trainz Plus releases that's been done, and future ideas. VR, that could be interesting. Brush tool, lock object heights, separate surveyor tools, volumetric fog, automated terrain generation, that would be excellent. Some APIs, some procedural nodes, new skybox. Let's have a look at the current skybox. Yes, that would be a step forward. That would definitely be a step forward. Passengers and pedestrians, that would be great. And then multiplayer for console as well. Advanced traffic system, derailment physics, a content rating system, and real-time ray tracing. So these are all future ideas on their board. So you can see that N3B games are fairly busy, should we say, and they do have plenty of ideas. So now that I've seen this, let me jump out of this. Let's not save this. Let's see if I can load up a different one. So as I said, this main menu is a little, this main menu is a bit dated. It isn't terrible. I can just sort of do that and pull up a bunch of stuff. Now let's go. I've got a few sessions that are maybe not HD terrain, but these could do something. So let's have a look, for example, at this. 30 minutes. It's a tutorial. I can do that, and that is how we'll end today's video. So with that, I get to take a look at the driving UI, which, as I said, I've seen it before. I've seen it's quite old. That's very, very. Okay, there we go. I was going to say that's very, very laggy. Spring 1959. That's loud. That's also very loud. Hello and welcome to Major Islands. In this session, you'll be introduced to operations and practices on the route. This will hopefully teach you how to operate the network. Okay, that's fine. Close this window. Further instructions. First task is to couple some cars. Be careful. The engine shed and turntable are in a slow zone. Speed limit is 5 miles per hour. Okay. Rotate the turntable and leave the engine shed. Be mindful of your train's heading. Double check. Okay. Fine. So, how do I rotate the turntable? That's the next question. So I can zoom in. Oh, the turntable doesn't need to be rotated? Yes, it does. I will do that. There we go. It's, that bit's quite useful. So this is the cab, which is, everything's very laggy. Now, I do not have a slow machine. Let's see how. It's better outside. Why is it laggy inside? Interesting. Am I on the turntable? I am. So, turn it. Switch off the bell because the bell's quite loud. And head forward. So this looks like an older route. And the reason I say that, some junctions are controlled from the central dispatching office. These have CTC. The rest of them are manual. Ooh. In the bigger stations, you can rely on station staff to set your path. Outside on the main line and various branches, you will find manual junctions. Okay. Oh, this is all very laggy. Okay, let's see if I can optimize my graphics settings here. Maximum draw distance. Let's do that and see if that helps. It does not. So these are not marked CTC, but it is in the right direction. Let's see, settings, scenery detail, tree detail, let's bring that down. Okay, it's the trees. It appears to be the trees that are causing the issue. So, this will go into into this. Can I then get back inside and will it... It's better. Okay. Perhaps on the brakes a bit. Oh, this train does stop very quickly. Now I need to figure out how to turn the cab, because I've just realised what I've done is I really should have reversed this one. But you know what? It's fine. Okay. Trainee... doesn't matter. Right, so that is now coupled. Now I don't have to go around doing things like derail valley, where I have to connect the hoses or anything. So, from here, head south. Going north... No, we'll be departing north, but we'll follow... What? Oh no, heading south will do that. We are going to be going north. There is only one signal at the end of the station. As a result, you will have to wait in the yard before proceeding. Always wait in the yard until you get an instruction to move from the station master. Check that your heading is correct. So how do I... No, but it says... No. How do I change direction of travel? I want to be facing the other way. Maybe if I do that... Nope. Interesting. So this is what it was warning me about. What's the horn like? That's a fairly realistic horn. Lights? Nope, that's not lights. Lights. Okay, I need to somehow tell this train I'm going backwards. How do I do that? What does that do? Nope, track profile. Okay, that shows me all of this information, which is pretty good information. I do like this information. Again, it's a bit old. This is a bit outdated, a bit large as well. I think that there has to be a control for this. Let's have a look. Interface, driver settings, control settings. Driver. Toggle headlights. No. Sound horn. No. Reverse train heading. Alt and C. There we go. Alt and C. So do I have to stop for this? Wait. Right. Alt and C. Does that work? Which way is it going to try and push a train? Nope. That didn't work. Am I missing something? Possibly. Maybe I should have changed... Maybe I should have turned the train around completely around in the turntable. That would have been a smarter idea. That's fine. Let's just try and do this. Approaching the signal. Fine. Performance does need to be optimized. That much is for certain. Performance definitely needs to be optimized. Is that even my signal? Must be. Now, I could control this all from inside, but I'm not going to. Because that's what happens. I'm going to be looking out that way. It's not exactly the best view. Now, I could zoom out all the way on this, and again, we'll see. Oh, there's actually quite a lot to do here. A few little islands everywhere. Do we get to go across the islands? Maybe. So we're going all the way there. Now I do like that that transition between what we're looking at, actually the generator, the rendered track and the map and everything. Also the rendered gameplay, and then the map view. I think that's pretty neat. That was a bit of a cut in the audio. Those are some very weird cuts in the audio. So I think this is where Trainz maybe somewhat lets itself down. It has a lot of... I think there's a lot that it can do, but there is a lot that needs to be improved. And if those improvements can be made, so obviously the newer products, the HD terrain, the lighting, all of that kind of stuff sounds, if that can be done, then it would look, I think it would be a very, very good simulator. Now I think the World Tour one that they have, that is part of what they do. This train has no headlamps. That's the issue. I'm speeding, apparently. I know I'm speeding. I'm trying to slow down. I've put the brakes on. We must be going downhill. Those brakes are strong. They are really, really strong. But yes, things like, in fact, we are going downhill. Of course we are. The map tells us. But yes, things like engine sounds and that sort of stuff, I think if they can work on that, that would be great. But it's also, I think, developers, the people actually making these products, need to keep on top of that, so that it doesn't fall by the wayside. And of course, with Dovetail Games, they sort of have a grasp on the market, both with Train Sim World and with Train Simulator Classic. So it's difficult for another train simulator of this sort to be out there, even though this came out before even Train Sim. I think this came out well before Railworks. Yes, Trainz has been out before Railworks, so there is history in this particular franchise. It's just that I think there hasn't been so much in the way of process or progress. Clearly no derailments because I haven't actually smacked into anything. Oh, the lag. What is all this? What's all the racket? So I think with Trainz Plus, that they are making that progress, but obviously it's going to be slow. Why exactly am I stopping here? This is a really bad place to stop. Decouple the last 3 cars. Okay, so coupling mode. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Done. And now it says depart, reach the mainland. Sure. No, I still have to be in reverse. Come on, let's go. So yes, the progress, I think the progress on this is slow, but it is being made. And that's a good thing. But there is so much that needs to be done. So for example, I think the tracks now look pretty good. Have I gone the wrong way is the question. No, I just have to get to... So how is this going to work? This is going to be interesting. Because, and the reason I say this is going to be interesting, because I remember reading something in Derail Valley that they had this idea of being able to go from island to island. I want to see how Trainz does it. Interesting. So yes, first impressions is promising, very promising, and if you're not all too fussed about how things look, like for example that building, that just redoing that building would be a big deal. Just redoing that building would be a big deal. But obviously it's the developers, whoever made this particular route, that needs to go ahead and do that. So one that I'm interested in is, for example, the Cecil to Carlisle route. I want to see what that is like, because I want to take the Tornado train out on that, or the locomotive. That would be really quite cool, or even the East Coast Main Line. Routes that I know, but I would not, I think, given that I've not seen any indication that they have been updated, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't be sure whether they would work. I know I'm speeding, it's fine. It's difficult to control, right. The ferry operates like a turntable. Oh! Click on one of the arrows to make it leave and go across the water. Oh, that's cool. This might take a while. Can I switch my engine off? Okay, that's cool. That's actually quite well done. But yes, I think if developers go around and say, oh, let's update this route to these new, the new standards, then this would be a pretty good rival to Train Simulator Classic. And the reason I'm saying Train Simulator Classic is because I don't think Train Sim World has any specific rival. Personally, I think Train Simulator Classic is the better title over Train Sim World. That is why I'm comparing it to that. And Trainz has that same sort of thing. Large 80 miles, 90 miles, whatever it is. In some cases, 300, 400 mile tracks. That's the sort of thing that I expect to see. And the wide variety, not just a few locomotives and that's it. Now, I do want to see more realism in this. I think the brakes do not seem to act. I mean, it does have the pressures and everything, so maybe it is realistic. Maybe this is just a really, really strong locomotive, which would be pretty understandable, because this locomotive maybe is supposed to haul a lot more than just the few that it has hauled. This is actually quite interesting. I've never seen this in a train simulator before, in the slightest. Ooh. Well, that's interesting too. Just being under the water, I can hear the air bubbles and the movement, the flow of the water. So I've just been distracted by that. But yeah, Okay, this isn't terrible. Definitely not terrible. Could be much better though. And that's what I think I'm seeing in this. And what I will probably do is, I think in the next video I'm going to go on one of those old routes and see how they look, and then I might try and use the surveyor tool to see if I can update any of them. And that would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting to try out. And I think that is also something that other train sims do not have. The fact that you can just go, right, I want to edit this, I want to add a new, I don't know, add a new line or something, there we go. And just go ahead and do it. Start driving off already. Horn's great. On this particular one, the engine changing gears is not, but the horn's great. Alright, well, I have reached the mainland, so I'm clearly doing something right here. The instructions are fairly clear. Welcome to Coldwater. Oh, well, okay, fine. I don't know what that said. Was it that? No. That? No. That? No. That? No. Oh dear. Couple to the train on the right track. Oh, I have to couple to this. That, yep, it's a much longer consist. I think this is where I first learnt the word. Trainz was where I first learnt the word consist as well. Do you remember that? Oh, passenger train going off over there. I really should have had this train in the opposite direction. The locomotive, sorry, in the opposite direction. So, no, I don't need that motor. Just bump into it, right? I think I'm going to have to do I'm going to have to change this myself. I do think that is the case. Slightly better performance here, which is good. That train's going fast. Sounds pretty good too. And it's long. Oh no, that's been done for me. Good. Well, that was a steam locomotive doing that. Let's go ahead and back up. What's that, a pantograph? Yep. I can hide all of that, can't I? Yes. So everything can be hidden and customized. So for example, animated portraits, get rid of that. And that's what you get. Adorn track marks, shore triggers, junctions, whatever. Anything that I need, I can put on. Like, this is a bit fast for coupling, I'd say. 7, 6, 5, that should be alright. Okay. Now decouple your engine from the train and park it on the middle track. Sure. Oh, am I going to be swapping over to that? This is interesting. This is not something you can do in other train sims, I don't think. I don't think you can go ahead and change. Can you change locomotives in other train sims? Apart from Derail Valley, of course, you can do that. Derail Valley is effectively that's what I'm doing here. Wrong way. Let's try and actually go in the right direction, please. Good. But I think in Derail Valley it's a little bit different because you are a person that can jump. I mean, there is an option here. I think, is it control? Yeah, control right click, and I can just say get off train. There we go. So there is that. Was there a change? Oh, there was a change direction. Just get the train to stop here. I'm starting to get used to the brakes. I think I'm taking that that one. No, I've completed the introduction session. Okay, the other sessions will not be as easy and straightforward. Of course, someone else is going to take that. That's actually pretty good. Let's see what I got. I got 330 points. Great. Whatever that is, but that is my first impressions of Trainz Plus so far. It's an upgrade from Trainz 2022, but I think it's more so it's a way for N3V to show off their latest features, to test them, to refine them, get it right, and for players to be able to start upgrading things, trying new things, building new things in Train Simulator before it goes to a standalone version. You can check this out, of course, on the Trainz website. I'm not going to recommend it either way at the moment. I'm not going to say yes, try this, or buy this, or buy that version. It's up to you. Of course, I will be trying this out a little bit more over the coming weeks. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'll have a look at this. So this is an old route, as you can see. Now I'm going to see if there is any way for me to start upgrading bits of it. Maybe even a tiny bit. I might just take, there we go, a relatively short section. I might just grab this short section and see if I can do something with it. See what it was like all those years ago, because I think this is from... Is this from a new era? Or is this even older than that? This might be from an even older version of Trainz. I do not know. But it would be interesting to see. And then, of course, I'll be trying out... I think this one was from 2019, so this is a bit newer. I have no idea what this Japanese one, where this one's from. And then there are some professional ones, wherever they are. These, which all look pretty well made. Horseshoe curve, iron stage. And really, I did want to find the original route. I wanted to find that Australia one, but I have no idea where it is. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for a few more videos on Trainz Plus. Leave a comment in the comments box below. Let me know what you think. Have you tried Trainz before? Which version? What did you think of it? And how do you think it compares to other train simulators? Both positives and negatives, of course. It's important to show both and be balanced so that the developers know this is what we are doing right, this is what we are doing well, and this is what we need to improve on, this is what we have done wrong. So make sure that if you have played this, please do let me know what you think in the comments box. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and Discord server. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Trainz Plus.